Hey gang, what's up? Evan from Stock Music Musician, and today I want to talk a little bit about Reason 9.5 and the new brave world of VSTs and kind of how it seems to change everything. We're not supposed to talk about the details of the beta, so I'm not going to get really into things like performance or layout or interface because that's all subject to change. This video is really just about the philosophy, about how you use Reason 9.5 versus how I've used every other version of Reason, and how it really requires almost a complete rethink about how you go about doing things. But before I continue, I'd like to take a moment to thank you guys so much for liking and supporting this channel, for contributing to the community. Last month I hit over 1,000 subscribers, and as a thank you, I wanted to include something to give you guys, and so I made a free refill pack or sample pack. It works not just in Reason, it's just a bunch of WAV files. There's about 15 there, free to use, do whatever you want with them. There's a download link down in the section down there, and the songs, if you make any songs with it, I'd love to hear them. I'd be interested in seeing what you guys do with it. So without further ado, let's dig into the issue of VSTs. So they're awesome. They're great. The big thing is Reason. I think people that have used Reason for a long time have, at least myself, and I think a lot of us, have become very set in our ways. And Reason has a certain logical way of doing things using CV voltage, and we've come up with a bunch of creative workarounds to make all sorts of uh, sounds that we want, or to do certain sound effects to create new sounds and push the limits of what Reason does. Reason has been a great toolkit for that. And now that I've started using VSTs, even in just the 10 hours, it's interesting because sometimes they just totally circumvent the Reason workaround that I've been using for a very long time, and you just can directly do what you want to do, which is cool. But there's no buts. It's really cool. It's great to just be able to do what you want to do when you want to do it. I worry to some extent that newer Reason users might not figure out ever the full depth of Reason because they never have to dig that far into the hood and try and come up with interesting patches and automations to get the sound they want. I think that all of us users have been using it for a long time, and all of you guys out there, it's probably going to make the way that you use VSTs just incredible because you're going to be able to combine the power of and creativity of Reason with VSTs, and it's just going to unlock all sorts of cool stuff. Maybe people that are starting just from this stage forward might actually become better at Reason because they're not going to be held up by all of the old ways of doing things that I've got. They might imagine things that I couldn't. I probably have a bunch of self-limiting beliefs about what I can or can't do in Reason because of the amount of steps I'd have to go through to work around it, or some other path just being easier. One thing I can say certainly is some current rack extensions and instruments and effects are going to be basically nothing but eye candy. I got the sampler and machine working, and it's like, I made like a 5-part video series on chopping samples in Reason, and there's a link there somewhere. I made it before I knew about that VSTs were coming, and the thing I said is I wish we could chop samples like in Machine. And yeah, now that you can do that, just say goodbye to all those videos I made because I am never ever going to chop a sample in Reason unless they come up with a new sampler. The sampler in Machine is just definitively like, why would I touch anything else? And I feel like plenty of things in Reason stand on their own, but there's plenty of things that have, been in since the very first version of Reason and haven't really kept pace. And maybe there's a time and a place for them in some respects, but it just doesn't compare to the capabilities that more modern software and VSTs have. So it's going to be interesting to see sort of what goes behind the wayside. But then another really interesting implication of the switch to VSTs is just for the past 15 years or something, 20 years, however long Reason's been around, it's all sort of been a common language and a common core and sort of a community with a shared set of experiences about how we make sounds and how we work around sounds and how we push the limit of the DAW. And now, there's no constraints. It's just anybody could use it any million other ways. And rack extensions were sort of like that, but there were not nearly that many rack extensions. And they were all sort of, not all, but a lot of them were fundamentally sort of within the core Reason framework. But now one person's experience using Reason could really be almost just as a VST host versus somebody who uses Reason without any VSTs, somebody that uses it as a recording platform. I think it's great that there's a lot of flexibility. It is. I just start to wonder, somebody who's trying to create content to educate Reason users, I start wondering where I can go from here, starting to think forward if, some people are using VSTs, some people aren't using VSTs, some people are using rack extensions. It's something I think we'll have to wait and see how it plays out. I mean, it's great. Have really, 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 really enjoyed being able to use VSTs directly in Reason. These are just, open questions, and we'll see how everything develops. So again, thank you so much for watching, for subscribing, for being a part of this channel and this community. And don't forget to claim your free downloads there if you haven't already.